Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Clueless Capitalist, where we discover interesting startups, interview founders, and help you become less clueless with angel investing. My name is Razi.
And my name's Osman, and welcome to the Clueless Capitalists.
In this episode, we have the co-founder of KINSO, Ashraf. Ashraf and his team are building the biggest retail chain in Bangladesh, including 20,000 existing micro retailers under their KINSO banner. So think of it as 7-Eleven, but contained within a 200 square feet franchise-based grocery store. Welcome to the episode, Ashraf.
Thank you so much, Mr. Razi and Osman, for the meeting invitation. I'm Ashraf. I am building KINSO. As you have just talked about it, we are aiming to build the biggest grocery retail chain of Bangladesh.
Thank you for sharing that. So the first thing I like to ask is, what is the origin story? How did you get started with KINSO and this mission of building the largest retail chain in Bangladesh?
When I was very young, I was probably studying at class 4 or 5. I saw my family establishing an FMCG business. So when I grew up, I saw how my entire family is working on building flavored drinks, starting from mosquito coils, starting from any kind of consumer food and beverages. And that made me a lot of inspiration to work in this industry as well. But when I got into college after high school, what I saw that business is not doing very good in terms of the distribution and in terms of the communication with the retail stores. So I saw that business grow, and later I saw that business dying in front of me, and my family finally got out of that business after a while. That gave me great inspiration that I will work in this industry and I will try to solve at least a few problems in the retail and distribution aspect. So after that, I found two of my amazing co-founders who also happen to are from the sales and distribution background. And then we started with the technology and we pivoted 3 times. We tried a lot of solutions before to impact the retail industry. And finally, we came to understand that to bring measurable impact in the industry, we have to be the retailer ourselves and set a better standard in the market. That's the story of origin for KINSO.
That is quite an interesting story. I mean, I like how one few things that you mentioned. One thing that stood out for me was how you pivoted 3 times. And that's definitely going to be something we'll discuss as we go along. But right now, we'd like you to bring us through your pitch deck, and then afterwards we will start with our questions.
Gentlemen and dear audience, Bangladesh is a country of 170 million population. Among that, 70 million people are middle class. Middle class grocery consumers in Bangladesh are highly underserved. There are 2.5 million micro retail stores in Bangladesh. Those are full of problems. The problem starts from the inefficient pricing because there are 6 layers of distribution, and every player among those 6 layers have their own percentage of the profit, and they are increasing the price of food, commodity, and FMCG. The journey of shopping is very unpleasant in the stores. By the looks of it, on the right side of the picture, you can say the design is very much outdated, the layout is very unorganized, and there is a vision paralyzed, the way we say it. You stand in front of a store, you tell the retailer that I need product A, and the chances are very high that you will not be remembering 1 or 2 products from what you were thinking to buy for your home because you cannot see it. And the connection with the product and the brands are very problematic here. And once again, the services are very poor because there is one individual who is sitting and serving these customers. The first thing that he thinks about is how I'm going to finance and manage the accounting of my business. Second thing he thinks, how I'm going to manage the inventory. So among all these big responsibilities, what he forgets the first is how I'm going to serve my customers in a better way. So there is a huge lack of customer service in this kind of retail stores. Gentlemen, to solve this problem, we have introduced KINSO KINSO is a fair price smart grocery retail store chain. So what is our solution? We are building physical retail stores. Like the picture you can see on the right side, we offer best price because we directly source from farmers and the FMCG brands. We provide them better experience. We give them a friendly layout and amazing offers to shop with. Our service of quality is better and higher than the others in the neighborhood. We have personalized communication and we have great loyalty programs like people get in the super shops. So we are building, like Razi said in the beginning of the conversation, we are building 7-Eleven, but that is confined in a 200 square feet space. Talking about our product and the technology, our core focus is on easy retailing and suggestive shopping. When I talk about suggestive shopping, that involves a lot of HCI, human to computer interaction. Recently, we have been experimenting a voice command basis shopping and suggestive module for our consumers, which is a patentable resource for us and a way to differentiate us from the other retailers. So in our store, we have prepacked goods, so there is no hassle of measuring the goods every time a customer is going to shopping there. We have customized rack with LED that gives us an extra benefit to charge the brands and get some more revenues. We have QR and app-based management system. We have a smart algorithm to predict the stock so that we can always win inside this 200 square feet in case of inventory. So all these features are helping us to serve our customers with 3 times faster checkouts. We have cashless membership opportunity. We are very soon will be partnering up with one of the biggest MFS company in Bangladesh, and we have scalable management. We have this vision and this practice in our company that we always say until and unless our stores are manageable by one stranger, that he can come to the store, run it for one day and then leave for other work. Until that point, we are going to change and experiment a better solution to run the store. Talking about our business model, so we sell franchise or we take over other people's retail space as they invite us to do. So the stores are investor owned. So this asset light model, we operate the store on behalf of them. Each of our store at an average makes $90,000 annual revenue, and we keep roughly around 15% of gross profit margin, and a lot of revenue comes from FMCG and other brand promotion like mobile finance service or insurance services as well. So we expect and aim to provide a return of 50% return on capital for each franchise. So why we are doing this now? That is a very interesting information you will be happy to know. Bangladesh right now is at its best growth level. So among the 100% of our population, 40% is the middle class. And recently a survey published by Statista that says Bangladesh, this middle class has almost $3,000 of GDP per capita. And this GDP will be $4,700 plus by 2027, which is growing at more than 13%. So our middle class is actually experiencing a graduation from basic needs to lifestyle. And that we can tell by witnessing some growth of the certain industries, like the tourism industry is booming, the digital finance and all the digital services are booming, the restaurants business is also booming. That means people who are belonging to the middle income and lower middle income community, they know they are using social media, they follow their favorite celebrities, they follow their lifestyle, and they know how to exactly live a better life. So there are raising needs for experience, there are raising needs for personalized retailing, and hygiene and food safety is also on the rise as well. So talking about our market size, Bangladesh has 42 million people who live in the urban area and earns middle income, and that makes a market of more than $7 billion. And if we can build 11,000 franchisees, we can build a $1 billion business, which is very much feasible from our point of view. And the market we are talking about, that is going to grow by 2027. It will be more than $25 billion at a 9% CAGR growth rate. As there is a very interesting news that has been publishing recently that says Bangladesh is becoming the 9th biggest consumer market by 2030. Talking about our traction, we are growing at more than 14% MOM, and till now, as it has been 6 months of operating this retail model, we are generating very handsome amount of revenue, and that's how the revenue after our pre-seed looks like. Talking about our customer adoption, majority of our customers are the one that lives in the 200 meter around the store. And also, as we offer price leadership in daily essentials and food commodities, a lot of neighborhood retailers, they come to us and they place pre-order for our products as well. So there's this strategy that we always follow while serving our customer for 3 SKUs, for eggs, for rice, and for potato, sometimes for edible oil as well. We provide them at a price that they feel they are literally robbing us. And by that, we create a perception of winning while shopping with us. And that moment, we offered them more profit margin generating products like noodles, soap, and other FMCG and packed goods as well. And we aim to cover 60% of the household basket from our store. So talking about a little bit of a competitive landscape, we are building our stores so that becomes very easy to adopt. And so what happens in the retail aspect is from changing from behave A to behave B becomes very, very difficult. What I see often in my early stage of life, I used to think that we will build this technology and everybody the next day will jump into using that technology, but that is a very much reality check. We heard it the hard way. And so right now, our number one goal is to remove the barrier for our consumers to get into our store. Let's say there is this one example of super shops. What happens for the middle and lower middle community in Bangladesh, they do not feel a lot more comfortable visiting a super shop because that has a glass door and that has air conditioning. So whenever they step in there, they feel I am stepping into something that I cannot afford, and maybe I will not be winning shopping with them. So once again, our stores are easy to operate, and if we discuss about rent per square feet in terms of super shop and other neighboring stores, we try to keep it very, very low in comparison to them. And also we have this commodity food price leadership. Although we do not have huge brand choices like Super Shop or the online grocery destinations, but we try to listen to our consumers. And as I have told you, 80% of our consumers are repeated customers as they live nearby. So we always listen to them, the product they need. If there are 5 people, let's say they need this X brand of cornflakes, we try to keep 5 pieces of that cornflakes to make our inventory more efficient. So our target market is, once again, the middle class and the neighborhood population. Talking about our team, I am Ashraf. I look after the business development, brand, and the fundraising activities. I have a FMCG background. I previously, before pivoting to this retail model, which we will be having more conversation about it, we digitalized 1,400 micro retail stores with Salesforce automation. And I have lots of food commodity trading and FMCG trading as well. I have Zainab Khair with me, and by her profession, she ran a retail store for the last 3 years. Also, she assisted to manage a $500,000 yearly revenue paint distribution business. Also was owned her by family. So we also have Mr. Imam Aronno. Imam is the person who looks over the operation and supply chain. And he's a second-time founder. He worked in one of the biggest logistic and retail company in Bangladesh named ShopUp. He also worked in the biggest e-commerce company named Daraz as well. We have a great advisors, Mr. Tino Rice and Oliver Gilbert. They have experience of collectively more than 20 years in the retail, FMCG, and venture capital background as well. Talking about a few similar companies, Warung Pinter and Kirana King. Warung Pinter is doing excellent in Indonesia. Recently, they have got acquired by an e-commerce company in Indonesia. So what we would like to become in Bangladesh, that we are building a similar company, but keeping the localization in mind for Bangladesh. So about our pre-seed investment, we are looking for $300,000. We received a few grants recently, and we just recently came back from Thailand attending Huawei Accelerating Program. Also, we are a portfolio company of the IDEA project, which is a project of ICT Ministry of Bangladesh. We have some few commitments as well. And as soon as we achieve this pre-seed investment, our company will possibly become $1.7 million annual revenue. So let's come to the conclusion. There is a very interesting story I'd like to share with you. As we do a lot of campaigns and a lot of selling activities, we get a lot of attention from the neighborhood of the area. Recently, a few people came to our store and they told us they want to be a part of KINSO, but they do not have the capital, like $8,000, to invest for a franchisee. So what we did, we rented a few cards and decorated them so that they can take our product and make it a mobile card and sell it. So this individual, they used to earn 8,000 taka a month, but now working with KINSO, they earn 12 to 15,000 taka a month, which is quite well above the poverty line. So that is the level of impact we are looking forward with KINSO. We are aiming to build the biggest grocery retail chain by 2028. That is what our vision looks like.
Tell us a little bit more about how this compares with other competitors in the market. I mean, you've mentioned that you've got a co-founder who's from ShopUp. We're familiar with ShopUp, but there's a lot of similarities that I can see with two other players in the market. One is PrioShop and the other one is Fashol. Now, Fashol does the, removing all the different steps between a farmer and to the retailer, and you're kind of doing that. And then you're also doing the micro SME, albeit very differently to PrioShop, but you're also doing that aspect of it as well. And there were other things that you mentioned in here as well, like the how do you manage a retail shop, and potentially there's things there as well. But for those two kind of key points, one about fresh produce and one about your other types of produce, how do you compare, and what makes you so different to what's already in there at the moment?
Thank you so much. So for the starter, if we talk about PrioShop and if we talk about ShopUp, so what ShopUp and PrioShop or Fashol aims to do is they want to impact the current distribution system, and they are building an amazing technology to empower the retailers who are right now on the business. Also, that goes a little bit for Hishabi as well, although they are with their technology, they're building something awesome. But we as a company, we are a retail company. I was having this meeting with one of the directors of ShopUp recently. He was mentioning ShopUp, or if we talk about PrioShop, they are a distribution company, and from our end, our core focus and core expertise is retailing. So let's say if you have a retail store or a space available, we are the company who goes to you and who takes over and run it in an efficient model. And in terms of that, we in terms of our freshly produced or FMCG product supply, we are actually in talks with PrioShop, ShopUp, and there are more other companies like this called Sindabad, so that we can take their help of the distribution. Because you see, we are a very asset-light company, and we do not intend to get into a business that we cannot add a lot of value. Because ShopUp or PeerShop is already doing very good, so why not we take their help to build our retail business, and we build an amazing retail with the partnership as well.
So let's talk about that whole retail model then. I mean, you mentioned something like smart grocery. What do you mean by that?
About smart groceries, as you recently visited Bangladesh, can I know a little bit about, did you happen to visit any retail stores, or did you happen to buy anything from any store?
Went to a few retail stores, the micro retailers, but just for the audience, benefit. I went to Bangladesh. I visited a number of startups, and I did come across with a very different understanding of what retail meant in Bangladesh. Just the plethora of micro SMEs is on a scale that I didn't really appreciate until I got there. Are they digitized? Nowhere near to the scale that I've seen here in Southeast Asia, where even hawker centers now have QR codes where you would pay, and you would pay with like either a Grab Pay in Singapore, for example, or Pay Now or PayLah as the other methods of digital payment. That was going to be one of my other follow-up questions, but yeah, that was my experience. The digitization of retail isn't there yet.
Exactly. So I also recently came back from Thailand with Huawei Accelerator program. So what we saw there is general and grocery retailing has gone so far ahead from what we do right now in Bangladesh. And what we see as a company, there is a huge opportunity for us to build a better system and invite the existing retailer to join the system. Let's say there is a day in future, as you have seen the micro retailers, you stand in front of them, you talk to the retailer, ask for a product, and maybe somewhere in his brain he knows that this product might be there. Sometime what happens, they forget that they doesn't even know that I have this particular inventory with me. And let's say they have an app to save the inventory, but does he really have the time to, while serving a customer, and check, yeah, I have this inventory, let me go and get back that from you? You do that, your customer already goes to the second store. He's no longer here. And that's point number one. And there is, once again, there are amazing offers from the FMCG companies, but the problem is there is this one individual retailer, and for the company it takes 5 layers of Salesforce. I personally used to work for a multinational company for a while, where I had 6 reporting officers, and the problem is here. For my company, we were not being able to send them the proper message or the proper offer. So see, this in the end of the day hitting our consumers. They're not getting the best benefits. They're not being able to pay digitally, or they're not being able to make their lives more easier. There is another very interesting thing. When we started our store, we started to introduce people with more cross services which are not grocery. Like we introduced with them a few edtech services which people, they didn't know, because maybe some of them are not very used to with social media. They are not very used to with other digital devices, but through us they got the access. So talking about smart and digital retailing, what are the components of that? That is, number one, how the customers are getting benefited. So we are giving them the better pricing, we are giving them the better experience. Now what happens in our outlet 1, there is a very interesting story I'd like to share with you. In that area, the first time we started retailing, people didn't know what is pasta. Almost none of them have ever tried pasta. We went there, and now for at least 70 households in that particular area, they know pasta, and that is in their evening snacks. And that is an impact of smart retailing from our side, because if they didn't get the opportunity to come into our store and see there is this amazing offer, there is this company who are trying to sell cornflakes, who are trying to sell this bunch of pasta package, and now they know it, and we are willing to do this for more household electronic products, consumer electronics, like small consumer electronics like a blender machine, or let's say a juicer, a toaster, small things like that, even a water purifier, things like that can make a huge impact to a consumer. And we are conveying the products to our consumer in a model they want to be communicated. And that is the goal and definition of smart retailing to us.
I have a question around the way things work. So imagine I'm a micro SME owner. I know of KINSO. So I say, okay, KINSO, take over my shop. And then KINSO operates it, and I have to pay KINSO $8,000 to get this going. That part I'm not very clear.
Okay, so here's what happens. So we get calls from two types of individuals. So number one is not retailers. They have, let's say, $8,000 sitting idle in their pocket, and they want to invest. And right now, what we do, we take their money, we build stores, and we run it on behalf of them. They are the owner of the store, and we pay them $150 to $200 a month as a profit share. So that is one. And then there are some companies who have a space and who have a huge number of workers working for them, and they invite us to set up stores there. So these are two types of retailers, non-retailers. And there is this one, the existing retailer. So the way we are designing our retail business is we want to empower them, because let's say that individual is doing their retail business for the last 20 years, and that is his core profession. Maybe he wouldn't like to leave that business and turn to another profession. So what we have for them is an entire retail system, and which we are still not yet offering in the market. We are still testing the possibilities that they run the retail store. For the existing retailers, we just give them their inventory, we renovate their store, and we give them the needed softwares and the training that is required to run the business. That is how it is working right now. But our current focus is taking the franchises as much as we can and make a better retail ecosystem, so that we become a standard and that we become a lucrative for the other retailers, existing retailers, to join our banner.
Curious to know about the annual revenue. So you mentioned that the annual revenue is projected to be $90,000, right? Within 200 square feet space, is it possible to generate that kind of revenue?
Yes, the way we are working is, see, there is this amazing data we have learned since the last 10 years or 12 years. We have seen how FMCG and retail works. So let's say today is the first day of the second week of a month. That means my consumers have the most amount of money in his pocket because he just got paid his salary. So the way it works, they buy a lot of product and they block their money so they do not lose it in the end of the month, and they do not face shortage of rice or anything, and that is how the consumers work here. So we leverage that scenario, and for the from 5th to 12th, this 7-day window, we do most of the sales. And What we do, we take pre-order the day prior the delivery, and the next day we bring a whole truck of rice, or let's say we bring a whole lot of potato in our store, and the customers comes and take it to their home. So the 200 square feet or the space problem is negotiated in such a way that we found a way to bypass through technology. And that makes it possible to make $90,000 annual revenue.
Okay, and I'm just curious about your tech stack. You talk about it. Is that all inbuilt in-house, or are you partnering with other people to bring the tech stack under the KINSO brand?
Yes, most of the technologies like POS and for the predicting technology, we are partnering up with a few tech companies. We had a very big technology team. We had a very expert CTO in our team when we used to do the Salesforce automation system. And after we pivoted, and we will talk about that down the line. But right now we are doing a lot of partnership with the technology.
Okay, so it's not in-house developed, so you don't have, I'm just trying to understand, do you have a whole development team, computer programmers working on a tech stack just for KINSO, or you're actually just taking it and rebadging it as from other people?
We are taking from other companies. We call it white label products. We do not yet have a full stack team of developers. We have a few. We have 2 people watching over our technology, but we build the products from the other companies.
And in terms of cashless payments, I take it it's just Bcash and the like, or are you cashless payment modes are you deploying in your stores?
Talking about the cashless payment, yes. The cashless payment, number one, Bcash or any other MFS companies, they open the door for us. But there are a few next level for this. As I have shown in the deck, there is a KINSO card that we are right now piloting in our store. That is a cashless membership card. It works as what Starbucks has done. You can merge it with your Bcash account, or you can merge it with your bank account, and you can use it to purchase from our store, and at the same time you can use it to avail credit from the store as well. And credit is a very important driver of sales in the retail space in Bangladesh.
Okay. No, interesting, because just in terms of my understanding of the adoption of cashless payments, I wasn't sure how widely accepted cashless payment systems are now in Bangladesh.
Well, cashless payment is growing faster than ever, but once again, that is still below 10% of the total transaction that happens on the retail and grocery industry in Bangladesh.
I want to know, from my experience, so whenever I go to places like India, when we look at a neighborhood store like this, a neighborhood MS micro retailer, usually the people in the neighborhood, they know the shopkeeper is very relationship driven. So how do you get customers to visit this KINSO stores? Like, what is your strategy to acquire customers to the KINSO stores?
Thanks a lot. So what we always focus on is building a wow factor. And you know why an individual visits an amusement park or a shopping center. They go to a shopping center or an amusement park because there is a roller coaster, or there is an experience waiting for them that they have never experienced before. So we keeping that similar vision, similar target on the mind, what we do, that we keep some amazing offers, trade offers for our consumers. Let's say our customer acquisition works on 3 steps. Number 1, that is awareness. that we let them know we have a store and this sell grocery to them. The second step is we make them come and pay a visit at our store. That is, we call penetration. And number 3 is retention. That means we want them to come and we want them to buy whatever they need from the store. So the first thing, the way we create awareness is we select 5 high traffic areas in an area and we put our branding resources out there. We set up small kiosks and set a representative out there, and they tell the consumers about what amazing this store offers. There's this interesting fact. We talk a lot about the neighborhood retailers, and there is one term we know as modern trade. So this modern trade, it is practiced by the bigger super shops and the online destinations. So what happens here is they directly trade with the company, and super shop consumers, they enjoy amazing offers. These offers are only available in these super shops, like buy one get one offers, or let's say if you buy this bottle of juice you get a pack of chips free as well. But as the neighborhood retailers, they deal with the distributors, and that is very difficult to bring the offers to them. But any offer that is available in the super shops is available on KINSO. There are lots of customers, they visit us just to see what offer we are launching the next week.
Yeah, I think growing up in Singapore, one of the reasons why school children or I would go to a 7-Eleven was because they used to have this drink called a Slurpee. So they had this machine where you can dispense your own drink, and it was this frozen drink that when you have it, it gives you something called a brain freeze. And living in a place like Singapore when it's so hot, we used to love going there. And one of the things that would attract us to the shop over and over again is Slurpee would release new flavors, and that was a reason for us to go into a 7-Eleven. So what you were saying is that for KINSO, you're looking at special offers that are only available in KINSO, and you're doing bundle deals that are only found in KINSO.
Just one more question. I wanted to go back to the cashless method of payments and how you're developing that card. Just out of curiosity, I don't know if you're willing to talk about it, but who are you partnering with to develop that tech? Are you just recycling like an existing partnership that you've had before?
As I mentioned about one very famous MFS company, we are having meetings with them to explore if we can set up stores in one of their clients' clients' factory premises, and work on these models. So talking about the way we are building the technology right now as a very early stage company, what we have learned, we only invest in the things that we are very good at. So talking about that right now, as there are lots of companies who are working with fintech and working with cashless transaction, the best way to work with this is to partner up with them. Because if also we put money where they have put their money, we probably will the 100th on the ranking. So what we try to do, we try to put all the money on the retailing, and we partner up with others at what they're doing best.
Okay, and the reason why we're asking is because we want to know that you're actually leveraging what's out there rather than trying to develop something, realize it's not working, make those mistakes. We've seen companies raise like $3 million and pretty much run out of money. And why? Because they've been trying to do things themselves rather than saying, hey, look, we want to try this idea out. Let's look at what's there. Let's pilot it. Let's try it out. And you're not actually investing too much of your own time, too much of your own money, and too much of your investors' money to effectively do another MVP, which you want to fail fast. How do you do that? You leverage what's out there? That's pretty much the reasons why we're asking those questions, to understand how you're partnering, how you're actually experimenting, and how you would fail fast to move forward to a better and tighter product market fit. You mentioned in your deck as well 50% return on investment, but you never mentioned over what time period.
It takes 5 years for a franchisee to generate 50% and more than 50% of return on investment.
Okay, and if I understand it correctly, 11,000 merchants. So if you have 11,000 retailers on your platform deployed, you'll get to an obtainable
$1 billion.
market. Yeah. Right. Where are you now?
We are now doing 8 retail locations. One of them is built by us, and 3 of the other retail stores we are running the partner stores, and we are still working up with that. And there are 4 mobile locations that I shared in the last part of the presentation.
Yeah.
So this 8 location we are currently operating with.
Okay, so that's 8. They're all in Dhaka?
They're all in Dhaka right now.
And then we understand this final point of 11,000, metrics that matter. How are you going to be measuring yourself, and over what time period? For me, key milestones as an investor would be, when are you going to get to $1 million of revenue? When are you going to get to $100 million of revenue?
The number one North Star metrics that work for us is what are the customers buying, and are they buying repeatedly? So as we target to sell them 57% to nearly 60% of their basket needs of groceries, and that majorly covers rice, edible oil, potato, and a few other perishables as well. In terms of that, when we find out that we have 200 households nearby our store, and there are this 120 who are constantly buying from us and constantly buying the product that we have thought they would buy, that is the best North Star metrics from our point of view to them. And when we have that, it's a replicable and multipliable model for us. If there is one retail point that is doing that, we will make 100 retail points, and then 1,000, and the number as it goes. Okay,
but that's going to be a lot of like staple goods that you're going to have to do to get to $1 million. For me, that's my North Star metric in terms of revenue, right? So walk me through how you're going to get to deliver that kind of milestone.
Okay, so in terms of sourcing the product or leveraging a huge amount of staple food, if we talk about, so what we do right now, we have a shared warehouse, and we only take care of 15 SKUs. The rest of the SKUs today, we have 232 SKUs available in our store. We outsource the rest of the SKUs where we do not intend to win. And that's how we save a lot of capital, and we focus only on that 15 SKU. We source them from the direct farmers. Recently, what we have done, we ordered a truck full of onion from a very remote place that is 400 kilometers away from Bangladesh, from Dhaka. We bought that, and we kept it to us for 3 days, and we sold out all the products within only 3 days. So that is how the sourcing looks like. We focus on the bigger and the most important SKUs, and we outsource the rest of it. And talking about the sourcing, Bangladesh is actually entirely sufficient on food and agriculture growth, agriculture manufacturing. So Bangladesh produces all the rice, all the potatoes it needs. So that makes our sourcing quite feasible.
How long have you been operating for so far?
We're operating on 4 stores and for other 8.
How long have you been in business for?
It has been 6 months since we pivoted to this.
Okay.
And yeah.
So 6 months, you've effectively 1 store a month. I would probably say just over that. Is that right?
Most of the stores got opened in February and March, the others. Until that point, it was 1 because we were not pushing the number before because we were still experimenting what to do better and what not to.
Okay, so effectively, if it's over 2 months, then you had 4 stores enabled per month. You've got an 11,000 retail target. I don't know how long it's going to take you to get there. That's what I'm trying to understand. Do you have details around how you would get to that?
Yes, we have a full-fledged 360-degree franchisee attraction and conversion proposition that is built, and we keep this in our data room. So the way it works, 11,000 from my personal point of view, that is a very long way to go. In the next 3 years, if we can reach the number of 1,000, we will be very happy, and that still makes our company a $100 million company with a 15% gross profit margin. That is a very much achievable target. And talking about the growth model, how it looks like, as I was answering Razi's question that right now we are focusing on the people who have, let's say, $8,000 idle money sitting with them, and we take their money, we build the store on behalf of them and run it. So we want to keep doing this for our first 100 stores. And when we do this, as we told you, there are 2.5 million micro retail stores. When we have 100, then we have a business case to go to them and tell them and convert 500 more of them in our entire fleet. So that is the growth model looks like. First, we build our self-operated franchise stores, and then we go to the existing retailers and we try to leverage their position.
Right, cool. Talking about growth and how you're going to do that, you obviously need money to do that. Talk us through your fundraise, what you're going to spend that money on.
Well, so the biggest portion of the money, as we are looking for $300,000 for our pre-seed investment, the biggest portion of the money will go to number 1 in building a few more retail stores, which are very standard and where we will a lot more our experiments in terms of serving our different clusters of the consumers. That is point number 1. And also, as we are aiming to serve 100 stores, we need to build relevant infrastructure. We need to have that 15 SKU I told you about. We need to have an warehouse for that. We need to have a little bit of logistic resources, and we need to build the relevant team for that. Also, as there is a matter of trust that we need to build among our pool of franchise investors, we will have to invest our funds in there as well. And then comes the technology, of course.
And I wanted to know, what is your current team size and what is your burn at the moment? What's your burn rate?
Our burn is very small right now. We are burning every month around $1,200 to $1,500 a month. 17 people work in the company right now, and most of them are the people who are on the sales, and they are working on sometime commission basis or on salary, and that is covered by the sales revenue we generated in most of the cases.
Okay, what is the minimum ticket for any angel investor to come in at?
Well, given what's happening around the world, we are very much welcome to invite investors who are willing to write $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 check sizes. We are welcoming them.
And one thing I noticed in the article that I read that was posted on LinkedIn by, I think, Iman, what he had mentioned was one of your advisors is the CEO of, or the former CEO of 7-Eleven Thailand. Maybe you could share more about him and how you see his contribution towards the growth of what you're doing with KINSO.
We are talking about Mr. Gary Brown. Gary is an amazing individual. Whenever I talk with him, I say, after 40 years from now, what I want to become in my life is another Gary Brown in my life. So that's how awesome I find he is. He was the CEO of 7-Eleven Malaysia and the director of Birjaya Group. That is the mother company of 7-Eleven. And before that, he was the president of Sara Lee FMCG. That is one of the very famous FMCG and food company in UK. So in terms of the value he's adding in the team, his advices are very precious. What he tries to do, he tries to always tell us that build the store as what the customer needs. Sometimes what we as founders, early stage founders or tech founders, what we feel, let's put this LED screen, let's put this AI technology in the store, and this will make look good. And once again, Gary, and also there is Tino, is another individual. These advisors are the individuals who pull us back and tell us, do you really need this? Do you really spend this money on this particular asset? That is the way they are adding value to the team.
Ashraf, is there anything that you'd like to share with investors that we might, or with potential investors that we might not have asked at this point of time?
Absolutely. So as you have seen, what we are trying to do is we're trying to build a better habit in the retail industry of Bangladesh. Now, if we go through the entire scenario, the people are underserved, and the main problem what's happening here is they're missing out a lot of chance to upgrade their lifestyle. So from our team's vision is how we can make their life better. If you are an individual who are really interested to see how people's lives are changing, how a person who is introduced to buy life insurance, who is introduced to buy a water purifier and a product that can really add a new dimension in their everyday meal. If you are the person to explore that kind of impact, I would love to invite you as one of our investors. So, thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Ashraf. Thank you so much. So you've heard from Ashraf. Ashraf is building KINSO, which he aims to build to be the largest retail franchise grocery chain in Bangladesh. Impressive vision. We wish you all the best as you build this company to what you hope for it to be. We hope you've enjoyed this particular episode. If you like the episode, please remember to comment, like, and of course, subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.